Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. You're getting really close to being officially done with the first week of your middle school career. I'm so impressed with you. So today is Friday. Today is independent time. That means you're going to be working a little bit on your own. You can find me during office hours if you have any questions. Hopefully you know where to find that link on my Common Learning page at this point. I think what we're doing today is pretty straightforward. Hopefully you should be able to tackle it on your own. We're going to talk a little bit about email today for a number of reasons. Number one, we are in a remote learning environment. You're going to be emailing your teachers probably a lot more than you would otherwise. But even if we weren't in a remote learning environment, once you get into middle school and high school, that's just like kind of the primary way that you want to communicate with your teachers. So you want to do it well, you want to do it right. And you want to accomplish and communicate, or you want to, accomplish the task that you're setting out to accomplish and communicate in the right way. So let's talk about some reasons why you might email a teacher. Potentially, it could be because you're not in class and you're confused about an assignment. So maybe it's that afternoon time. It's not during office hours. You have a question about an assignment. You can't hop on a chat. You just shoot a quick email to your teacher. Ask them some question you have. That's a pretty common reason to email a teacher. You might be missing school. You've got a trip coming up, or you know that you're going to be unavailable. At a certain point, you won't be in class, so you want to stay caught up. That's a good reason to email a teacher ahead of time. Maybe there's a grade in the grade book that shows up, and you just are like, well, I thought that I turned that in and it says it was missing, or I thought I was going to get a better score than that, or something like that. That's a great reason to email a teacher. Or you just want to set up an appointment to meet and talk one-on-one, maybe during office hours, or maybe on one of these Fridays where you just have a lot of extra time, you want to get some extra support from a teacher. So all of those would be reasons to email a teacher. And we want to do it well. So let's look at some examples to see kind of like maybe what not to do. Okay, here's our first example on this next slide. So right away, you can probably tell that this is not the kind of email that you want to be sending a teacher, right? When you email a teacher, you want to present your best self, right? The best version of yourself that you can. And this doesn't present that. Number one, emojis going crazy. We don't need that, right? Maybe a smiley face at the end is okay, but 16 unicorns and French fries and volcanoes and stuff, just leave that, right? Making sure that I'm double checking. I'm not using slang words. I'm not, using things like cuz. I'm capitalizing things that need to be capitalized, especially if you're emailing your English teacher. You want to be as grammatically correct as you possibly can be. It doesn't have to be flawless. You don't have to labor over it, but do, read it before you click that send button. Give it another read through just to double check for things like that. Especially things like this, you got to spell my name right if you're going to email me, especially if my name is like up there in the to box at the top of the email. You should be able to spell it right. So don't be careless and send emails like this. Here's another bad example. Holy schmoly, look how long it is, right? As a teacher, I get emails from like a lot of students every day and from, other teachers, and there's all sorts of emails that I have to deal with. If I'm getting an email from a student that's this long, oh man, that's a lot for me to get through. So we want our email to be clear and concise and to the point, right? You want to just, say what you've got to say and then send it on its way. Hey, that rhymed. So let's look at an example, right? This is kind of the happy medium. This is the Goldilocks's, just right version of the email. It's not too long. It's not filled with emojis and crazy nonsense. It just gets to the point. So it says, I'm sorry it's so late, but I just started my independent work and I can't complete it. I followed the link on the agenda, but it took me to an error page. I would love to meet during office hours, but now it's past time for the day. Could I meet with you during office hours tomorrow to solve the problem? Boom. That is a perfect, flawless email. We're going to talk about why. Like there's some specific little ingredients that this email has that make it so awesome. So that's our goal is to learn that today. So here's those rules, right? Every email that you send to a teacher has to have these things. Has to have a subject line. So an email you've got, if you look up at the top, we'll look at it later. But if you look up at the top, there's the to box. There's, the CC and the BCC. Sometimes you might use those, mostly not. But then below that, but above where you write the message of the email is that subject line. So you need an appropriate subject line. You need a greeting, dear Mr. Graham, hello, Mr. Perez, dear Miss Nelson, whoever it is that you're emailing. You need a statement of the problem or the question or why you're writing. So clearly here's, if we look at that previous email, it said, hey, I tried to click on the page, it gave me an error message. That's my problem. You need a possible solution that you think could solve the problem, right? So in that previous email, it said, hey, I know I can't meet at office hours today because it's too late. Could I meet at office hours tomorrow? That shows your teacher that you're thinking, right? You're kind of trying to figure out well, how would I choose to solve this problem? I would choose to solve the problem by, meeting tomorrow and solve that. Now, your teacher might disagree with that solution. They might email you back and propose something different. But because you proposed a solution, it shows that you're being proactive and you're trying to figure out well, what could I do to resolve this on my own? And you're asking that teacher, hey, is it okay if I do this or if I go this way? Okay, that's maybe the most important thing that I'm looking for in an email from a student. Okay, and then your name and class period. It helps me because sometimes your email will just come across as your ID number. I don't know your ID numbers. And just a first name might not be enough because I might have two students with the same first name, so that class period really helps as well to help signify so I know exactly who it is that email's coming from. Okay, final step that's really important is to check for replies. So once you send that email, I might get back to you right away. It might take me a little while, but hopefully I'll be pretty prompt, and you want to make sure that you're looking in your email inbox to be sure that you're catching any replies that I may give you. Because like I said, maybe I'll accept the solution you said, and I'll say, yeah, tomorrow is perfect. Let's meet during office hours at this time. Or I might say, hey, you know what, tomorrow's not so great because I have this meeting with the principal or something. So could we meet at this time? Or could you try this to avoid the error message or things like that, right? So that's the important reason to check for replies. Okay, so here's another example. You can see it's got that subject line, upcoming absences. That was the first thing that we needed. The second thing we needed was a greeting, dear Mrs. Hahn, right? The third thing we needed was a statement of the problem. I wanted to let you know that I will be absent next week on Thursday and Friday for a family trip. That's a clear problem. It's one sentence. Boom. I want to stay on top of my classwork, so is it okay if I meet with you during office hours on Wednesday to see what work I can do ahead of time? There's that possible solution, right? This person's thinking how could I solve my problem? I could meet with her on Wednesday. I will also check your virtual classroom to see what resources I might be able to find there before we meet. Holy schmoly, is this person impressive, right? So not only are they proposing one solution, they're proposing another thing they're going to try and do to solve their own problem. So that to me is a super impressive email. Okay, and then at the end has a first name, last initial is really helpful, and then the class period down here, period 3-4. Okay, perfect, flawless email. These are the kind of emails that we want to try and write, okay? So that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a scenario, a situation. We're going to do a little role playing here, a little drama time. So this is your scenario. Scenario says it's 3 o'clock on Wednesday. Oh my gosh, 10 minutes before school's over. I should be done at 3:10 every day. So it's 3 o'clock on Wednesday, and this afternoon, that means you, I'm talking to you, had to meet with your music teacher for 40 minutes to fix your clarinet. Maybe that was during English office hours. So you were, during English office hours, you were meeting with Mr. Perez and he was showing you how to put the reed in your clarinet or something, right? So you were doing something else, couldn't meet with me. Because of that meeting, you won't be able to complete that independent English work that you have by 3:10. So you're going to run out of time. You know that whatever assignment I gave you for the afternoon is going to take you longer than 10 minutes. And you won't be able to complete it by 3:10. Uh-oh, to make things worse, this afternoon you've got a soccer game and you have a special dinner with your grandma who is in from out of town, so you won't be able to finish it after school either, right? So that possible solution, hey, could I just do this homework later this afternoon or later this evening? That's not a possible solution in this scenario because grandma's in town, right? You got to go to Applebee's or whatever. So you're going to write me an email that explains this problem that you have, right? And it's going to propose a possible solution. But that, like we said, that solution has to be something different than I'll do it this afternoon after school or I'll do it this evening, because that's out of the window. Okay? So you're going to actually write me that email. Specifically, you're going to use the subject line fake email. So in that subject line, and we'll take a look at that in just a second. But in that subject line, you'll write fake email. That way I'll know that it's the email that you're writing for the assignment, as opposed to maybe you had another reason to email me today and you could use a different subject line, because I'm going to get, like 100 emails from students today. So if I see that it says fake email in the subject line, I'll know that it's just you doing your work. Okay, down here at the bottom of the screen, you can see my email address. You can also click any one of the links in the 17 million places that I have linked email me to email me. So let's take a look at one of those just for kicks, right? So let's say it's you're here in my Bitmoji classroom. You can go to the home page. You could click this link, right, to email me. You could click the link on my Common Learning page, the email link that's right under the title of the website. Or you can just go straight to your email, which I believe, actually here, let's do it the way that you might be able to do it. So if you're on the calendar, you're going to Friday. We're going to skip to Friday because it's not linked. But here you are on Friday's day. You're going to write me an email. You could follow this link right here, and it'll take you directly to your email inbox. Now, it might make you log in. It might make you, put in your email and your password and all that. But once you're here, then you can start writing that email. So you'll come up here to New Message. You're going to write who it's to. So that's where you're going to need my email, right? agraham@psdschools.org. And then down here in the subject line is where you're going to write fake email. Okay, that subject line will let me know that you're doing your assignment. And then down here in the body of the email, you may not have a signature down here. You could set that up if you wanted to, if you know how. If not, find me sometime. I'll show you if it's something you're interested in. But otherwise, you just have an empty box down here and you'd start writing that email to that scenario. What are you going to do? Grandma's in town. Got to go to Applebee's. Got to eat those, potato wedges or whatever it is they eat at Applebee's. It's super good. Okay, so write me that email. Once you've done that, you are done with English work for today. What I will tell you, though, is to keep an eye out. If you're doing this in the morning or early in the day or something, keep an eye out on your inbox to see if I reply to your email, because if there's something amiss, right? Maybe you forget to propose a solution in your email, or maybe you forget to put your name in the bottom of the email. I might shoot you a quick reply just to say, hey, something I noticed in your email, make sure you fix that for next time, okay? Here's what I'll give you. I'm making this decision right now. If your email's flawless, I'll reply to that too, and I'll just say, looks good, see you Monday, Mr. Gray. Okay, so check for that reply to see if things look good, or if there might be something to tweak, and then you'll really be done with English. Okay, good luck. Find me during office hours or shoot me an email if you need any help with it.